Well, here we are at the Love Them Knives channel, and this is LTK talking to you. ZT, Zero Tolerance, made in the United States of America. This is the Zero Tolerance ZT 0055 knife. It is a design, and obviously this is a design by Gustavo Cecchini, and this is collaborative, obviously, with Zero Tolerance. What a crazy knife. We've all been looking at this knife, and there's reviews out already, some of which I've watched, and they've pretty much covered all the ground. So there you go. I've got one too. See you later. Okay, never mind. Just kidding. Okay, so we've got a frame, at some point in time you just go, it's been done, right? You got a backspacer here that apparently is aluminum, and it's anodized blue, and I think that's obvious. Being aluminum's not obvious, but apparently it is aluminum. And you've got this lanyard hole. You've got these two screws that hold this backspacer in. You've got two screws that hold this pocket clip in place, and it's not a milled clip, but you can go left and right hand with it. So you lefties, you are so lucky. Yes, because this is a cool knife. I've really, in all seriousness, I've really wanted to get my hands on this one because of this spring-loaded tab, SLT. And this is so crazy. I watched Epic Snuggle Bunny. I've seen both of his reviews on this knife, the pre-production one, and then he did a disassembly on this, which I am now not going to do because I saw him do his, and I think he's about ready to tear his hair out, putting that the spring-loaded tab back together. That was fun. It was fun watching him do it because the coil spring in this tab just bounced out all over the carpet. He was, the top of his head's visible in the video. He's searching around on the carpet for this thing, and it's like, yeah, I'm glad you're doing this, dude. Okay, so it's a titanium frame lock flipper. And this flipper tab just disappears. Let me get a little bit of contrast here so you can see this instead of yeah, does it disappear in that box? Yeah, it does. So, I like the milling. I like the design. This is so weird. This is, somebody made a comment. It's kind of fun when you're not the first guy doing a review on a knife like this because you can kind of look at some of the comments from the other people and the other videos. And, well, you can see here, 0055 GTC design. My serial number there. S35VN, patent pending. Really cool. Lock bar insert, obviously, in here. Hardened steel to interface with the S35VN. Drops back pretty nice, and it's centered. So, fit and finish. Feels pretty good. I mean, this is not something that just fits my hand like a glove. It's just not going to be one of those, real heavy user knife type things because you don't have anything keeping your finger from sliding out here because you have a disappearing flipper tab, which means that you really don't have anything separating you from this blade much for slipping down there. And, that's okay. We're talking about design here. I mean, this is an exercise in design. This is for ZT to take off in a fanciful direction. And that's great. That's great. I mean, hey, kudos to you. They make a lot of knives that you can, get wild and tough with out in wherever you go to get wild and tough with a knife. But this is more of an art form type thing here. And this SLT, this spring-loaded tab thing is so funny. It was interesting to watch him because there's this, this is connected to a cylinder, and there's a there's ball bearings in it. It's kind of enclosed, encased with a coil spring that's under tension here. Obviously, it's under tension. So, and so they milled a big swath out. I don't know if it's on this side or that side. I can't remember now. For that round tension spring that's enclosed and everything that this is all attached to here. You can kind of see the top part of it. To travel on around here. So it travels. Interesting. So it's kind of an interesting construct. The only thing that makes me nervous is when knives have a lot of little pieces and parts. You go, what happens when things come undone? A coil spring breaks or, I don't know. In any case, but this knife for me, not a problem because I don't think these components are that fragile and I don't think they're going to fall apart on me because of hard use, because it's not going to get hard use with me. So I'm pretty protective over my nicer, more artsy type knives. So for me, it's all good. How big a knife is this? I don't know. How big do you think it is? And I've got things attaching to my magnets here. Get out of there. Okay, so where are we? Well, we're 3 3/4 inch. It depends on how you want to measure this. You almost got a 4-inch blade down here. 3 3/4 at least. And overall, 8 5/8 and a little bit left over. So not a bad size knife. You got not quite 22 centimeters long. So, and in the 96, 97 millimeter range for blade length. So let's see what we got for thickness on the S35VN blade. And it looks like it's going to be pretty close to 4 millimeters because it's 0.150, which is 3.8. So close to 4 millimeter. And I don't know if we can get all this captured. It's going to be 13.5. It's going to be 0.53 at least of an inch, which is kind of a good chunk there. Maybe we lost our thing, or maybe I just turned it off. I just turned it off. Okay. 14.4. Ooh, hold on. Let's get this right. Well, that is kind of a fatty then. 0.56. So not quite 6/10 of an inch, but that's fatter than a lot of EDC knives are. I guess this is pretty usable and pretty springy for a pocket clip, and it's definitely long enough to travel down your pants pocket to get a good grip all the way. It's not a deep carry clip. It's obviously not a milled clip. But then again, it's not billboarded up with ZT all over here. I see that ZT puts their name on their knives. For me, that's not a problem. I find it interesting that people just get completely, kind of upset or disgusted with the fact that the knife manufacturer actually puts information on the knife. That really, I'm sorry, but that doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. I don't need, you want a sterile blade? Get one from a custom maker or something, I'm just saying, this is a manufacturer and they probably have a degree of pride in what they make, and I'm good. Let the ZT flag fly. I mean, that's kind of a point of like having a Lamborghini. You want that, I'm sorry, you probably want that emblem on the car. Just saying. In any case, action's really good on this. And this mechanism is cuckoo. It really is. It's great. It's fun. It's different. It has you a little queried at first. You're going, hold on, I'm where, but you just started to release here. Now you're just going to start pushing this mechanism when you get this far here. So this is that spring-loaded tab, but really then you're going to flip it like a normal flipper at that point. It's just that this tab has a spring that lays it down and gets it out of the way. Other than that, really your mechanism is pretty similar as far as the flipper motion goes and the mechanics there. Yeah, interesting. One thing I've noticed is, listen, I don't know if you can hear this. When I just start loading it back on, well, yeah, I can hear that little kind of like there's some grittiness there or something, but I don't think it's grittiness. It does kind of sound gritty. In any case, I don't know. I think it'll wear away, and I haven't put any lube or done anything on this. And you can take this knife apart pretty easily, as long as you don't take the separate SLT mechanism and start taking that apart, because that's a separate little, enclosed thing. So you can just take that whole component and leave that alone. You don't have to take that apart to service the knife. So, in that regard, yeah, it's an interesting mechanism. It's a cool design. It fills the hand, but it's not the most ergonomic knife. No, not very at all. No. Look at that blade, huh? Every time I look at a blade now that I've got my sharpening system, my KME sharpening system, I look at these knives and I'm going, wonder how that's going to work. You know? Hopefully it's a long time before I have to find out. And I'm going to get some extra stones and maybe some also KME sells stuff that you can do recurve blades with and this and that. But yeah, I think I could make my way around that blade, but not looking forward to it. Really don't enjoy sitting around sharpening knives anyhow, although it is sometimes kind of therapeutic, but man, I like the machining on here. I love the design on this knife. These lines, very angular, almost like a glass breaker or a striking tool on, with the ability of being able to strike something here on the butt end of this knife. So in that regard, maybe more utilitarian than you would have thought. And the blade, look at this blade. It really takes up, for a knife that's almost a 4-inch blade, but you're not 8 3/4 overall, you're shy of that, it's really taking up a lot of the handle. So it's making good use, efficient use of the length of the handle there, which is great. I like that. Got a real stone washy finish on the blade. Check it out with, I'll compare it to the Manix, So the Manix is like 8 1/4 overall. This is a bigger knife than the Manix. Definitely a longer blade. Of course, the Manix, I think, is just a bit under 3.5-inch blade. About 8 1/4 overall. So, yeah, it looks a lot bigger, doesn't it? Well, let's check this out. I keep telling you it's 8 1/4 overall. And it's not. It's 8 inches overall, so no. We'll get rid of that. And it's not 3.5. It's not quite 3.5. It's 3 3/8. So, 8 inches to 8 5/8. The GTC just looks a lot longer than that, than the difference there, than 5/8 of an inch. Isn't that strange? But yeah. Cool knife. Oh, what does Blade HQ have to say about it? Well, there you go. 3.75-inch stone wash. And they're out of stock right now, but this is August, mid-August, so that'll change with time. 8 3/4, yeah, to me it wasn't quite 8 3/4, but okay. 3.75, so it's not quite 9 inches, but that's still a good size knife. S35, reverse Tonto, flat grind, stonewash, plain, so it's not serrated, in other words. 5-inch handle and 0.56, so yeah, it is kind of a thick, beefy handle. Tip up right and left hand carry, and there you go. Kikini design of GTC knives, that kind of thing. So I don't know, you got the model number in here, and pause and read on the rest of this if you want. KVT bearings, spring loaded tab, that kind of thing. Anodized backspacer, yes it is. Good size knife, really interesting design. Not so ergonomic. Fun as far as this goes, this design of this spring-loaded tab. It's just so unique. It's really art. Look at the pivot, how they've done that. I mean, it's very modern. Almost reminds me of maybe what you would see from Browse as far as these kind of angular lines and this kind of a design to a degree. A little bit that way. Interesting. God only knows what people will do with this, though. I mean, you can take all this titanium and do some different customizing with different kinds of anodizing, or God only knows. But it would be kind of interesting. Wow. Feels good in the hand. Interesting. I wonder how much it weighs. Let's see. They told us in the specs, but under 5. It's not bad for a knife that's just a little under 9 inches long. 138 grams. So fairly light, actually. Fairly light. So how does it compare in size with, like, paramilitary? There's your para. About pivot to pivot there. It's bigger. Bigger knife. Interesting. So it's a decent sized knife, but actually you would think it might be 5.5 to 6 ounces, and it's not. It's under 5. Although it still feels pretty substantial in the hands. Interesting. Wow. A real exercise in design. A little bit unusual for zero tolerance to a degree, although, you know, the ZT 999 was pretty wild. You know, so it's not like they don't stick their neck out here and there to do some more creative things, and this is one of them. So, been waiting to get this in my hands. It's not a huge deal, I guess, but I was, you know, it's always the one you don't have that you're always, you know, waiting for. And once you get it in your hands, you're kind of looking for the next catch. But this one, cool. You like the pocket clip? At least you can go right and left hand. At least it's got a lanyard hole. A little bit of blue back there on the back spacer. Is that really, should they have gone black? Should they have kept it tie? You know, in a gray? I don't know. I mean, it kind of sticks out like there's nothing else that's blue. So if you were going to do that, would you do some, you know, blue pocket clip or somewhere to carry that blue out? It just kind of sticks there. I don't mind blue on a knife for accents, but sometimes if they do some of the screws or the pivot or the pocket clip to match that, that's fine. Without that, I'm not sure. Oh well. I don't mind it. It's just a little unusual. But, you know, ZT does contrasting stuff on some of their knives here and there. So now this is not unusual for them, but I just don't know exactly what their thought process was on the backspacer. But it's nice that it's like this suspended looking backspacer. That's cool. And it's not a big, long, it's not dominating the design of the knife. So that's good as well. Pretty nice blade stock on here. Almost 4 millimeters. So you can see the grind. There's some heft there. Pretty strong tip there. Yeah. I like it. It's interesting, that's for sure. I think it should be probably, if you're a ZT fan, and you know, I am, but I don't collect everything that they make. But I have a few things, and so I think this, you know, this should be in my collection just because it's so unusual, so different. You know, it's just one of those pieces, and it's a standard production piece. I mean, I can't afford to do the special edition stuff. It just gets so pricey. But you know, this is nice. Pretty jazzy for a standard production knife. Yeah, cool. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. Hey, ZT, what do you think? 0055? Got this. This is crazy. It really is. Hey, subscribe if you want, or don't. It's up to you. But if you're a subscriber, you can win on my giveaways, and we got giveaways that go periodically, so that's always good. And it'll keep you up on what new and interesting knives. This is kind of very standard for you know, YouTube, because a lot of people are big ZT fans. So you're going to see a lot of reviews on this knife. But there are a lot of knives that I do review that are kind of outside the mainstream. So take a look at some of my past videos, pick and choose. Thank you so much for joining me. You know what we do around here. Yeah, we love them knives. Stay sharp.